What's up guys, it's Rogue here and welcome back to yet another amazing video on the channel. For today I got an updated version of a budget deck that did really well on the channel, so I thought I'd update it, improve it a bit more and share it with you guys. So it is going to be a budget Shaddoll version, but it's going to be the trap version. So this is one of the more beloved versions because people just love traps and they love Shaddolls, so that when you do combine both you get something incredible guys, and this is what I'm going to be showing you today. So don't forget, if you enjoy this video, make sure you do stick around. We're almost at the 500 sub mark. That is crazy. You know, once we get to the 1K, I'll be able to consistently bring you out more videos, etc. But we're not here for that. We're here for this profile. So without any further ado, let's get straight into this profile. Okay, so let's get into this amazing deck profile. The profile is of course 40 cards to keep it as consistent as possible, and let's go. So we're going to start off with double Shaddoll Squamata and double, Shaddoll Wendy. These are essentially the same card. I say that because Squamata is going to be sending your Wendy, and your Wendy is going to be summoning any of your Shaddolls from the deck. Squamata also has the ability to send any other Shaddoll, so Squamata is actually a bit better than Wendy, but these two are arguably the best Shaddolls by miles. So I'm playing two of each because this is a trap version, and you're not going to want to be seeing many Shaddolls in your hand. You're actually going to want to be using the resources from your deck, so you don't want to be drawing them. So that is reason enough I put them to two. For your other Shaddoll here, we got the one Beast, just because this helps you with your draws. The one Genius, which is actually really good because you can send it and then it's sort of like a mini imperm. It will negate the monster's effects. We got one Hedgehog just to add other Shaddolls in case we need them in our hand. One Falco because he's actually just a really recoverable. If you send him to the grave, you can revive him basically, and that's a free body. We got the one Aerial because a massive DD Crow absolutely kills decks that rely on the grave, like Tri Brigade, like Eldritch, stuff like that. Aerial just absolutely kills them. And the one Shaddoll Dragon just to blow up back row. For example, your opponent just sets 5, you can Shaddoll Dragon on the end phase and you can get rid of at least one of the traps. So I'm playing one of each, just really good utility. You're going to be sending them during your opponent's turn mainly, so yeah, absolutely crazy that way. Moving on to the other engine I'm actually playing here. This is really budget engine, but I don't know why people are not playing this. I think it's gone under the radar. We got triple Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. So the reason why this card is actually so good, first of all, this deck doesn't really have a true normal summon. So, the invoke stuff is really expensive still, even with the reprints. The Spellbook engine is really cheap. You got common versions of stuff everywhere. So that is why I'm playing the Spellbook version. And also, Spellbook of Knowledge is a pot of greed that sends spellcasters from your hand or field. But it can actually trigger your Squamata because it doesn't send them as cost. So you can actually send your Squamata after searching it with your Blue Boy. I'm just going to call him Blue Boy because it's easier. You search your knowledge with Blue Boy, activate it, send Squamata, draw 2 cards, and then with your Squamata you're actually able to send Wendy, summon another monster, and then you got a Link 2, which is crazy in my opinion. Also, if you don't want to do that play, or you don't have a Shaddoll in your hand, you can literally just link him off into Artemis, which is a light. So you got a Link 1 light, which gives you immediate access to your construct without having to rely on sending the hand traps from your deck to a grave. So that is why, in my opinion, this Prophecy Spellbook Magician engine I've added is crazy good, and I'm going to be using this from the future from now on. So we've got triple of the Blue Boy. Moving on for the hand traps, we are of course playing triple of Ciphering the Gamma. This card is crazy, not only because it's a light, but because it negates and destroys. And usually if you don't see the Magician, which is the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, you're going to be ending with 0 monsters on your field. That's because you're going to be having a lot of back row. So Gamma is actually live, so that's really good because you can trigger the Gamma to protect your traps, like the trap that sends from the deck to the grave to start your Shaddoll engine can be ashed, and you can protect it with your Gamma. And for the other hand traps here, we got triple Ash Blossom just because it's the most generic, hits the most decks, and I feel like these two hand traps in tandem work really well in stopping most meta decks. That is why I'm playing them. For the spell lineup here, we of course got triple Spellbook of Secrets. Basically just a way to thin your deck. You can secrets, search your Blue Boy, or Blue Boy, search your secrets, and then activate your secrets and search your knowledge. Or with the Blue Boy, just search knowledge straight up. So it's really good deck thinning and actually helps with the consistency of the deck a lot, which is why I'm playing them. It's really cheap because it all got common reprints in a structure deck, so that is why I'm playing them. And for the last Spellbook card, we got double Spellbook of Knowledge. I'm not playing 3 because it's a hard once per turn, but if you open just these 2 cards and no other Spellbook engine, which is very unlikely, you can at least send your knowledge, draw 2 fresh cards, you know what I mean? So Yes, knowledge is crazy. It doesn't send for cost, so triggers your Shaddolls and you can just send your blue boy, draw 2, make your Gamma live. Just crazy card. For the Shaddoll spells here, we've got double Shaddoll fusion and 1L Shaddoll fusion. I wasn't really focusing on the OTK aspect of the Shaddolls. This isn't really a going second build. This is a trap version. You're not going to be playing as many Shaddolls as a usual build. So that is why I'm playing the 2 fusion and the 1L Shaddoll. Shaddoll fusion, if you're going second and you see it, is crazy because 99 times out of 100 your opponent is going to have an extra monster, a monster from the extra deck basically, and you're going to be able to use materials from your deck. This does get ashed a lot, but we are playing the Gamma, so that's also really good. And L Shaddoll fusion, in my opinion, just helps with OTKs and is also like a sort of second schism during your opponent's turn. So yeah, I'm playing these. They're all recursable. Every Shaddoll spell and trap, you can just add it back when your fusion monster goes to the grave. And for the last spell, we got the 1 Foolish Burial. Just an amazing starter. Foolish Burial sends Squamata. It's really important you always send Squamata if you can. It just thins the deck by an extra card. And yeah, Squamata into Beast, and then Beast just draw 1. So really, really good card. For the traps here, we got triple of your Sinister Shadow Games. This is probably the best trap in the deck. Just gets your engine going, not once per turn. It can be ashed, unfortunately, but that's why we are playing the Gamma again. So yeah. Basically, what it does is it sends a Shaddoll card from your deck to the grave, which is crazy. That triggers their effect, and it can also flip a monster that's face down to face up, a Shaddoll. So you can potentially get 2 really good effects for 1 card, which in my opinion is crazy. Not once per turn. So if you have 2, activate 1. Once it resolves and you have a Shaddoll face down, activate the second, send another Shaddoll to gain extra effects, and then flip the one that you just set. That's, in my opinion, crazy. So yeah, triple of the Sinister Shadow Games. This card also comes in common, so it's very, very accessible. We got double of the Torrential Tribute, just because why wouldn't you play it in a deck that doesn't mind getting its main deck monsters blown up? Your Shaddolls will trigger their effects, and you will board wipe your opponent. This card has won me so many games where they just don't, you know, they're not playing around the Torrential, they're playing around Nib, so they do like 4 summons, and then when they summon, I'm like, boom, Torrential, and just clears their board, and it's an absolute blowout. So yeah, double Torrential. Not playing it at 3, because, you know, it's really good, but you don't want to be seeing many. You don't want Torrential to be your only card, so that's why I'm playing 2. I am playing triple of the Dogmatic Punishment though, because this card, not only can it send your Entis for an extra pop, which is a 2-for-1, which is really good in my opinion, you can actually send your Shaddoll monsters from the extra deck to the grave and gain their effects. So that is the main reason why I'm playing this card at 3 instead of 2 like Torrential, because it actually does interact with your Shaddolls directly as well. Your Torrential does that as well, but you need to rely to actually have something, whereas this you can just send them straight from the extra deck to the grave and gain advantage that way. So really, really good card. Another 2 of here is double Paleozoic Dynamiscus. This card is really good in Shaddolls specifically because it doesn't discard its cost, it discards for effect, so it does trigger your Shaddolls as well. So what the main goal is going to be, we're going to be trying to trigger our Shaddolls during our opponent's turn, try and stun them a bit, and then just control the game from there. This basically just banishes a face-up card. So this is also a Mystic Mine out, which just recently did get banned in the OCG, but in the TCG it's still at 3, and still many players rely on it. So just having a Mystic Mine out in your main deck, you can never go wrong with that. So double Dynamiscus, really good. And for the last trap, you guessed it, it is of course Shaddoll Schism, due for repin in the Megatin. So this copy, you know, the Ultra will go down because it'll probably get a secret print, and then this card will be affordable, and then you Shaddoll players can rejoice. So yeah, Shaddoll Schism is crazy. Fusion summoning by banishing the materials from your grave, and if your opponent has the same attribute that you do fusion summon, it just sends it to the grave. This is like a Dragoon out. If their Dragoon has baited, you know, if you've baited the gate, you can then Shaddoll Schism, make Winder, and then send the Dragoon. It doesn't target, doesn't destroy, it just sends it to the grave. So this is, I've outed a Dragoon before with Schism, it's really important. But that is it for the main deck. 40 cards, really consistent in my opinion. Now we're going to be moving on to the extra deck. So here is the extra deck. We're actually not playing any Link 4s because this is more of a control deck. So we are going to be playing one Link 3, which is Nightmare Unicorn. Arguably one of the best Link 3s to date, just because you can make it during opponent's turn, discard a card, and then just target a card and spin it back. So really, really versatile card. Of course, we're going to pair it with the IP Masquerena. I explained before briefly how to make it. Usually a blue boy and any Shaddoll will make your IP Masquerena. Then during your opponent's turn, when you get another Shaddoll on your field via Wendy, you can then link them off into a unicorn. So IP Masquerena is a really good card. We've got the one cross sheep, just in case, you know, you want to go for a sort of more aggressive approach. You can make a cross sheep and then start bringing back level 4s from the grave by fusion summoning under it. So cross sheep is also a really good option. This is a proxy, unfortunately, but this is the Magistus Link 1 Artemis, I believe it's called. And basically it's just a light, which is why you play it. And yeah, this is sort of expensive at the moment, but again, it's due for a reprint soon, so hopefully it gets a reprint, and then we can actually, it's actually an affordable card. For your last link here, we got the one gravity controller. We play this because you're going to be making most of the time your construct in the extra monster zone. Why would you do that? Well, because you can then link it off immediately into your gravity controller and gain the construct effect to add back. So what you're going to be doing construct is you're going to add your schism, then you're going to link it off a gravity controller, and that immediately triggers your construct to add you back your schism to your hand, set your schism, and then you can go from there. So gravity controller is a really good card. Hopefully we'll get a rarity bump in the tins, something to super on that, so you don't need to play these dirty commons. Moving on to the fusion monsters here, we got double El Shaddoll Winder. This is usually your win condition most of the time. Your opponent, if they can't out it, they pretty much lose because they can only special summon once, and that doesn't really affect you because you're a trap deck, so you don't really mind that restriction. And yeah, it can't be destroyed by card effects either. That's really important, remember that. I've seen people make a Winder, the opponent activates Torrential, and they send Winder to the grave. That doesn't, you know, doesn't work that way. Can't be destroyed by card effects, period. So that is why Winder's really good. We got double of the El Shaddoll Construct. She is the heart and soul of the fusion monsters. Basically just another Foolish Burial. None of her effects are once per turn, so you make 2 of her, you're going to get 2 sends, and then you're going to potentially get 2 adds back from the grave to your hand. So Construct is just, you know, she's Construct. Moving on to the next Shaddoll here, we got the new one from the structure deck. We got double El Shaddoll App Cologne. This is really good. First of all, it can't be destroyed by battle. I feel like people forget that effect. Just straight can't be destroyed by battle. And then it has 2 effects. When it's summoned, you can negate the effects of a card permanently, forever. Or when it goes to the grave, which is the effect most people use, you can add a Shaddoll card from your deck to the or grave to your hand and then discard a card, but the discard doesn't cost, so it does trigger. So for example, if you have your Aerial in the grave, you know, send App Clone to the grave, App Clone will trigger, add you Aerial, discard Aerial, banish 3 cards again from your opponent. So you can potentially get double uses out of the one-offs that you play, which is crazy. And I'm playing 2 because usually you can make 1 and then send 1, so that's why I'm playing 2. For your last Shaddoll monster, I'm playing Shekinaga. I'm playing Shekinaga because the new edition of the new Shaddoll is actually an Earth, so you can make this if you need to straight up with your Shaddoll fusion, and it's really good in my opinion. Just negates special summoned, I believe, or negates the effects of special summoned monsters, you know, by discarding a Shaddoll, which again isn't cost, so it does trigger them. And yeah, she's really, really big as well. 3k defense, just sometimes you need to wall up, you make El Shaddoll Shek. For the last 2 fusion monsters here, I got the one Fossil Warrior Skull Knight and the one Entis. Entis, we know what she does, send her to the grave, pops a card. And Skull Knight is like that as well, just, you know, you get to choose when, only pops monsters, but for example, your opponent only has 1 card. Send it, and then when they have another monster, you can banish it from your grave to pop it, so you don't have to immediately use it like Entis, so that's why I'm playing it. And for the last monster in the extra deck, of course, I'm going to be playing the Omega. The Omega is crazy because you can straight up send it to the grave via your Dogmatic Punishment and then actually just put it back with other cards. So amazing because it recycles your engine. And also if you gamma during your turn, which is an amazing plus, you can just make your Omega, loop a card out their hand, return stuff that's banished, and yeah. So that's the end of the deck profile, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy my take, well, my new take on El Shaddoll Trap, you know. I got a lot of comments in the previous video saying that you should probably look to adjust the deck a little bit, tweak it a bit more, adjust the Shaddoll ratios, and I have. So let me know if you guys did enjoy that, and make sure you do subscribe. We're very, very close to the 500 subs, and I thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
It's time! Let's go!